Welcome to today's review of a very interesting product from Wet n Wild. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Shade Shifting Blush, or the Zombie Blush. I stumbled across this in Ulta a few days ago, and for $6 my curiosity got the best of me. So in this video I'm going to review this blush for you. I'll talk about it both as a blush and an eyeshadow. I'll share some swatches, and then I also have an application and wear test that will be coming up in a little bit. But to start off with, I think I'll just share some of these product details and go ahead and get the review section done now. The Zombie Blush is $5.99. You can find it online at Ulta. I found mine in store at Ulta, and then it's also on the Wet n Wild website. This is part of their Fantasy Makers collection, which they do every year for Halloween. It seems like a pretty big collection this year. This product is limited edition. I took the sticker off already, but I'm pretty sure it just said limited edition right on the sticker, and I do really appreciate when brands make it very clear whether a product is limited edition or not, whether it's on a sticker on the product or just information in store. I just think that's helpful to know. The packaging here is just all plastic. I think it's actually the same packaging as a rainbow highlighter they have, and I found this product in a display with a darker version of their rainbow highlighter and some loose pigments and liquid lipsticks. There are 0.21 ounces of product in here. That is 6 grams. I think that's pretty standard for a face product. Their square pan highlighters have 0.19 ounces. And when I think of a face product, I think it's usually somewhere between 0.2 and 0.3 ounces, 0.3 being on the larger side. So I think you're getting plenty of product here for $6. Let's talk about the color. So this is the Zombie Blush, marketed as a blush. Obviously a very unique, interesting blush color we've got going on here. Once you swatch this product and apply it, it is basically a very warm, rusty brown with a teal reflect. I was talking with a friend of mine on Instagram after I posted a photo of this, and she actually sent me a picture of this product swatched next to the duochrome shade from the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette, and they are exactly the same. So if you have the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette, you know, it's got that duochrome shade in there that's been very popular for a long time. This is exactly the same thing, essentially. Moving on to the formula of this Zombie Blush, when you go to swatch it, it's very smooth. There's no powder kick up at all with your finger or with a brush. You know, even really getting a brush in there, there's no powder to be found. So on a scale of powder textures, going from, you know, your normal, basic, average, you know, powder face product up to a really heavy, foiled, creamy feeling powder, I would say this is somewhere in the middle. It's definitely not a cream product. It's not as heavy as like a really rich foiled eyeshadow, but it is heavier than, you know, like their powder highlighters, either the square pans or even those kind of long rectangular pans that they've done in different collections. There's some ingredient in here that gives this powder an element of moisture. It's a little bit emollient. So backtracking for just a second, something I forgot in regards to the color. This is the only cheek product I am wearing today. And, you know, looking at this in the pan and then looking at this, I was actually quite shocked at how, I don't like this word, but I can't think of a better one, wearable this is as a blush. It just turns out to be this really warm, kind of rusty color. And, you know, you can tell it definitely has a sheen to it. This is a duochrome powder. And even though the shift is so strong in here, when you apply it with a brush, you know, you can tell it's teal if you look, you know, if you look up close, you can tell it's teal, but it doesn't look off-putting. I was just really shocked about how this has translated from the pan onto my face. Moving on to how this product applies, this is where things start to go a little bit downhill for me, specifically talking about this as a blush. But first, to discuss it as eyeshadow, it's great. You'll see in the demo coming up, but I have no problems applying this to my eyes. I blend it in my crease, I put it all over my lid. It's easy to apply, no issues with this as an eyeshadow. I just realized my microphone wasn't plugged in all the way, so many apologies for being an idiot and for the sound being all funky in the first half. But as a blush, I just think this is challenging to apply. It's tricky to blend, and it just takes a lot of work to get it to look how you want it to look. Okay, so let's zoom in here a little bit for some swatches. So like I mentioned with the formula, it's kind of an emollient powder. There's no powder kick up. It's really smooth. Swatch over here. There's obviously plenty of pigment in this blush. So this little section right here is actually part that I scraped off because when you go to swatch it, and if you use some pressure, I think you can kind of see those slick areas where it forms some hard pan. So when I was swatching it, it did that right here. So I tried to scrape it off. I mean, you can still get product off of it, but it just makes this weird texture on top. So putting this on my hand, didn't use a lot of pressure there. Not a lot comes off. So if I press harder, now there's the pigment. So pressing harder, there's a swatch, and you can tell. I hope this will stay in focus for this. To try and blend this out is quite challenging. I think you can see it sticking in some areas. Now, obviously, this is a heavy swatch. This is not as heavy as you would apply it on your face, but I think you can tell it's hard to blend. And then even after that, you can still kind of see a lot of the pigment just kind of sticks to my finger. It's almost sticky. Like, it's not sticky in actual texture, but the pigment likes to stick to your skin, and I think as a cheek product, that is not a good thing. I'll just try to do one more swatch. It sticks in certain spots, and then, you know, you blend over it, and it's a lot of work. Again, this is not as heavy as you'll be doing it on your face, but I'm just trying to show off the texture of it here. So just to show the difference in textures, you know, this is one of Wet n Wild's Mega Glow highlighters. This is Blossom Glow. You know, they make good powders with not much pressure at all. This blends out like nothing. So obviously not a duochrome, it's a different formula, but just to show, you know, they make blendable powders. This is just not a normal powder formula like this one is. So I think it's just kind of tough to work with, which is a shame because, again, I'm wearing it now and it looks really intense. I've applied it pretty heavily today. It's kind of hard not to, particularly on, you know, if you have a lighter skin tone. It looks really intense really quick. So now we're going to get into the demo, application, and wear test of this product, and after that's done, I'll come back and share my final thoughts. Welcome to the demo of this Wet n Wild Zombie Blush. I'm gonna use this as eyeshadow and blush today, so let's try it out. I've already got some Milani eyeshadow primer on, and this is the only shadow I'm gonna use today for this look. Just gonna use this in the crease and on the lid, and we'll see how it wears. So just starting by blending this into my crease. This is a little Wet n Wild tapered blending brush. And now I'm just gonna pack this on my lid. This is a Sonia Kashuk 106 brush. So here's the zombie blush as eyeshadow. So just so you know what makeup is on my face already, I just have under eye concealer and powder, and then no foundation, just this NYX HD finishing powder and banana all over my face and my eyebrows, of course, but that's not too relevant for blush application. And I'm going to use two brushes to apply this because I think I'm going to need two brushes, one to apply and then a clean one to blend it out. So this is just a little Wet n Wild angled contour brush, I think is what it's called, and then this is the BH Cosmetics 124, just a fluffy one to blend it out. So let's give this a shot. Because this has kind of an emollient quality to it, it can be kind of hard to blend out on your face. See, look what we've got already. So I just have the smallest amount on this brush. I'm gonna try to blend it out with this. Maybe I won't need the other one, we'll see. Just kind of tapping it on first where I want most of it to be. And because of that shift, like, you can really see how different it looks from different angles. Okay, see, I think I got more on this side. I'm going to take this BH Cosmetics brush now and blend around all the edges. It just gets really intense really quick, and I find that it helps to blend around it to kind of mesh it in with my skin a little more. Okay, here's the blush after blending it out with a little bit of powder. I'll zoom in a little bit too. So this is a duochrome powder I've already got. You know, if you've seen my videos, you know I have very large pores, and they're not looking any better with this because it's got that shift. So I just finished off my makeup with some mascara on my top lashes, and then lip product today is the Fenty Beauty Mademoiselle lipstick in Freckle Fiesta. I didn't put on any bronzer or contour or highlight because I really didn't want to interfere with the cheek color. So it's about 11 a.m. right now, and I will come back later this evening to check in. We'll see how this Wet n Wild Zombie blush has worn throughout the day, both as a blush and an eyeshadow. Hey guys, I'm back. I didn't last too long with my hair down today, but anyways, it is 9:27 p.m. I forgot to show the time earlier. Hopefully you trust me, but 9:27, I started this video at 11 this morning, and so that's around 10.5 hours later. I haven't touched up my eyes or my cheeks at all, touched up my lip product throughout the day, and I think you can see product is still on and going pretty strong. Check it out up close here. So I feel like the eyeshadow looks the same as it did this morning. You know, I don't really notice too much fading. It is absolutely still there, and then this blush is definitely still hanging pretty strong too. Well, I think that's it for this evening's check-in. Time to wash my face and start getting ready for bed. So after this, I will come back and share my final thoughts on this product. I hope you guys enjoyed the wear test and the application of the Zombie blush. And to come back and share a couple final thoughts, my final thoughts on this blush are very mixed. As an eyeshadow, I think it's great. You know, no problems with the application there. It lasts just fine for me over eye primer. Good lasting power. The blush has good lasting power too. But it is the exact same color that is in the Comfort Zone palette from Wet n Wild. So if you already have that, you already have this. If for whatever reason you need a giant duochrome, you know, brown teal eyeshadow, it is available for you here. But as a blush, I just mixed feelings. I think this is a tricky one. It's a bummer because I think this is a really fun product. It's something different, it's affordable, and again, I'm just so shocked about how it has translated from the pan onto my skin. It's just it's much more of a regular looking blush than you would have anticipated. My problem is just with the formula. I just don't like this formula as a blush. I think this would be so much more of a win for me if it were just a normal powder formula, something more lightweight that blended easier. But I think because this is a heavier texture, that kind of emollient quality, it just makes it hard to blend on your cheeks. Now, obviously, you know, my pores don't look great wearing this. That's not specifically this product. If I put a lot of sheen or shimmer on my pores, they look terrible. They look terrible just normally. So this does not make them look any better. I think they look, you know, much more exaggerated with this kind of sheen. So I think the moral of the story is that I can get this blush to work, but it takes effort. It's such an intense color. Obviously, it looks really intense on me today. I applied it a little bit heavily, but it's kind of hard not to. Pros, it has good lasting power. It's very pigmented, so it makes a great eyeshadow. It's affordable. It's a fun product to experiment with. You know, if you wanted to get it and experiment with it to see if it would work for you, it's not a huge investment. But I think the con is just really the texture if you're talking about it as a blush. This is just not a great texture for a cheek product. All right, guys, I think that's everything for this video. I really hope it was helpful and informative. Please let me know down below if you have any questions or if there's anything I missed in this video that you would like to know. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.